Friday, 6 a.m. Eastern, Canada back at it against Japan in Tokyo. A big friendly, but it's still a friendly. Should we really care about this match? I say we do, Sarah Pararia. We know what Buddy Bassett over there thinks. He goes, nah, you don't care about this one.
No.
Right?
I didn't say that. I said I wanted to emphasize that it's an international friendly. It is important to Canada. It's important to both sides, especially I think important to Canada because it's the post-John Herdman era. You want to see what the new manager is going to do. I mean, interim manager. He even mentioned it himself. It's an audition. So it's important for certain reasons, but it's still an international friendly. It's not going to have that same competitive nature as a World Cup qualifier or a Nations League match or a Copa America qualifier, wherever you want to, whatever match that actually matters. But, I mean, it's important for certain reasons, but I think fans and even in the media, we need to temper our expectations. A win or a loss isn't the end of the world. It's all about performance here, and that's one thing I'll be looking at.
It's not. I understand what you're saying, but they should still go into this thinking they got to win. They need to perform. Like you mentioned, new coach. They're playing one of the best teams in the world, in my opinion, right now. They're not playing, no offense, but like a CONCACAF team, a Guatemala, a Cuba right now. This is the best team Canada has seen in a really long time. They've played twice against the U.S. recently, which has been the best competition they've had. Lost both of those games. The last time they saw competition at this level was the World Cup. So they, after missing that international break in September, they got to go into this and just... win or loss, though, like, leave it all on the pitch. Play a good game. Look like they're here to compete because it's not likely that they're going to keep getting big games like this.
They need a good performance.
Absolutely.
Because I don't know the last time we saw a good performance. Maybe Belgium at the World Cup. Right? It's been a while.
Yeah,
Let's
probably.
be honest.
Wow, yeah.
It's a friendly, but you're right. Mauro Biello's first time in charge. He wants the job full time. He's got a new staff there. Paul Stalteri's with him. Stevie Caldwell, of course, is with him as well. So I don't know what he'll try different to the John Herdman era, but that's the big point. It's no longer the John Herdman era, right? It's almost like a blank slate. Let's start again here with what is a pretty good group. And I think it's one thing we're all forgetting here that I agree. Japan's a good team, right? Round of 16 in the World Cup. They lost some penalties to Croatia. Remember, Croatia destroyed Canada, right? So they're obviously different in quality, but this Canada team can play well. We saw that in qualifying. It's been a long time, but we shouldn't dismiss, I think, the quality on that team right now. I actually expect a pretty good match.
And also, I'm not saying that they shouldn't go into this game not taking it seriously. They absolutely should. I'm just saying post-match, you need to assess their performance, not the result. It's how they win or it's how they lose. And if you're Mauro Biello, it's difficult for him too. It's difficult for him too. He has such a short amount of time to train with these players. Mm-hmm. He even mentioned they're coming in late. He has 2 days with this team to prepare for this game. So you're not going to, I don't think you're going to see the best of Canada. You're going to see a new system most likely. He's talked about Alphonso Davies and wanting him to actually play as a left back instead of playing further forward like John Herdman did. So maybe the days of Davies as a 10 or a striker or left inside forward are done. So that's something else you really need to look at. But it's a short amount of time for preparation, international friendly. You have a manager auditioning. This is what I mean by tempering expectations.
Yeah, I think if they don't perform well, though, I wouldn't put the blame on Biello. I think Biello, jeez.
I know, I say Biello too. You know what I mixed up? Bielsa and Biello.
I knew once you said it, I was like, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But I wouldn't put it on the coach. I think that, yeah, he hasn't had enough time with the players. That's not the issue. I think the players themselves have to come out and show that they're here and they're excited and they want to, play, and all this crap that's going on off the pitch, leave that there for now and let's see a good football match. But I'm a bit nervous for Canada, I'll be honest with you.
What we shouldn't forget here, though, is that Biello is John Herdman's right-hand man for a number of years. I wouldn't expect anything too dramatic, too much of a shift. Now, you want to put your own stamp on the team, of course, but Biello and Herdman worked together on what they did. So I get the whole Fonzie playing more of a traditional left-back role. Is it going to be a 3 at the back with wing-backs? I'm curious about that. I'm also curious about the young players coming in. Players who I know nothing about. I'm not going to pretend I do. Harry Payton, don't know who he is. Plays in Motherwell. De Forgerolais. I want to find out how to pronounce his name, number one. This is a kid from the Fulham Academy now. Really interesting selections. Getting some players. Will they be capped? It doesn't matter. It's a friendly. But that's very curious to me, as is the goalkeeper situation.
Oh, dear.
Now they've brought in, of course, Borjan. Back comes Max Crepeau, which is brilliant news, back from injury. Dane Sinclair's there. Who's going to be the man? Because you think whoever takes the gloves in this match will be in the Confederations Cup. Sorry, the Copa America, if they qualify, of course, which they likely will. Big games coming up in a month from now, of course. But I'm very curious about who takes the gloves in this. Is it looking forward to the future and the World Cup? I just don't know if Borjan's going to make a trip to Japan if he's not guaranteed to start the game.
That's true. Yeah. What do you take? What do you make of that? I don't. Well, I don't know where I sit with Borjan, considering Crépeau is there. Dane St. Clair's had a run. Obviously, two capable goalkeepers.
Well, the thing is, I mean, he's in his mid-30s. He's not over the hill for a goalkeeper. You see goalkeepers in their late 30s. He's still very good, obviously. Has that history and pedigree with Canada. I think he is. I think he is. Is he good enough to be the number one by the World Cup? I don't know. I really think it's going to be Max Crépeau. I just, the speculation around the Gold Cup was that he left mid-tournament because he wasn't going to be starting a match. Now, whether that is to get back to his new club or whether he went off in a storm, I don't know. But the fact he's been recalled suggests that there's still a good relationship there.
Yeah, I don't think he should be the guy. I think his distribution is suspect for sure. Gives away the ball a ton. He's prone to a howler, multiple sometimes during a game. And I just feel like when you have those two goalkeepers, which are going to be the future of Canada, start now. And maybe have him there for experience, but if he's going there expecting to start and he's going to start, I think that's a complete wrong direction for Canada at the moment.
Isn't that what you want to do in a friendly as well? Like, you don't want to go in and, completely rotate the squad and experiment with everything, but you make little shifts because these are the matches where you can risk it a little bit. So I think this is a perfect time to put Crépeau in the middle of the sticks there, because I'm sorry, like everything with Borjan, I don't know. There's something fishy going on there. I don't want to get too much into it.
Yeah, but you never know with friendlies, right? 45 minutes can be Borjan, 45 minutes can be Dane St. Clair, the other keeper. First 45 for Japan can be their first team. And there's so many substitutions and things that happen in a friendly. So maybe they split time, and that's how they're going to go about it.
But I mean, Crépeau's also just got back from injury as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Yeah.
And look at Dane St. Clair at Minnesota. They just fired their coach and their general manager.
Yeah.
Right. Although they were still in the cusp of the playoffs. It's a bit controversial, but not had the greatest season either. So that stands out to me as one thing to watch. How about you, Sarah?
It has to be how Canada are going to deal with Japan's offense, because they're ridiculous. And I think Canada's weakest point is their defense. It's been an issue for several years now. We're talking about the likes of Matoma, Takefusa Kubo, Daichi Kamada, Ritsu Doan. Like, these are top quality players playing in the top 5 leagues in Europe. It's not going to be easy, and it's really going to test Canada's defense, which has already been very questionable. So who's going to play? How are they going to shut these guys down? It's going to be a difficult task, but if they can do it, it's going to be great for Canada.
Yeah, two things for me, as I mentioned, like how Biello is going to set his team up, especially missing Tejan Buchanan and Eustachio. Who's going to step up for those two guys?
Eustachio is a big loss.
That's a big loss in the midfield.
Yeah.
Who's the next man in?
Kone's not playing that much at Watford right now.
That's what I'm saying.
Not starting many games.
Yeah, it's going to be difficult. I mean,
is it Sam Piet?
Possibly.
Yeah.
Being recalled.
Yeah, he's Mr. Reliable. You know exactly what you're getting from him. You're not getting the same type of quality, especially offensively, from a Piet than you would from Eustachio. But, I mean, any team that would lose one of their key players in any club in the world, they're going to suffer. But I think for Canada, Eustachio means a lot more than I think Buchanan missing out. And maybe even to a certain extent, Alphonso Davies, because of how much he does in that midfield.
No, I think you're right. I think Eustachio might be the most important member of that team. Playing top-level football, Champions League football in that midfield role.
Yeah.
And like I said, Piet's reliable, but it's a different quality of player. It still is strange to me when I look at the squad, there's no Tiba in there. Because he would be the guy just step in there, right? It's just we're past that now. Obviously, it's kind of sad, but we've got to move on, see who's there. There's some youth there. Hey, listen, one of these new kids coming out maybe stands out, but it's a big game. It's a tough game, but it's a friendly. So let's not put too much weight on this match. The big ones come up next month with qualifiers. Well, Nations League, which will be a qualifier for Copa America next year.
Room 442 is brought to you by North Star Bets. That's a win.